This lesson we're looking at scientific notation. So our scientific notation means that when we write large and small numbers, we can write them with powers of 10. So this is our form, m multiplied by 10 to the power of n, where m is a number between 1 and 10. It always has to be between 1 and 10, and n is an integer. It could be positive, negative, whole number, or it could be 0. As I said, used to write large and small numbers. So we're going to write these numbers in scientific notation. So the first thing I need to find here is I need to look at those first few numbers, and I'm looking for the non-zero to start off with, and I need to find, well, how could I place a decimal point to make a number between 1 and 10 using these numbers? It's going to go after that first number. So I'm going to get 7.635. I have to write all other non-zero numbers, unless the 0 is in the middle of the numbers, like this example down here. And then I'm going to go times 10. Now, in order to calculate and work out what that power is, because that power has to be a number, I need to find how many places did I move that decimal point to get it between that 6 and 7. So if we were to count in, I would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So my power is to 8. So this question here, I need my number between 1 and 10, so it's going between the 8 and the 4, times 10, and how many places did I move my decimal point in? 1, 2, 3, 4, so to the power of 4. So therefore our large numbers. Our small numbers, we do the same thing, we're just working into the right this time. So again, I need to move that decimal point in until I have a number between 1 and 10, so it's going to be 7.04. times 10. Now because it's a small number, so the way we differentiate between a large and a small is it becomes to the power of a negative. Again, how many numbers or how many places did I move my decimal point? 1, 2, 3, and that can be our power. And with D, I need to move my number, so it is a number between 1 and 10, so I get 3.3 times 10, and I move that back in one place, so negative 1. So just be mindful, if it is a positive power, it means it's a large number. If it's a negative power, it's going to be a small number. So writing these numbers in normal decimal form, so it means we're going from our scientific notation into our whole numbers. So if I have 7.23 times 10 to the 5, that means I've moved my decimal point 5 places in. So if I move it 5 places back out, I would go 1, 2, and then I go 3, 4, 5. So I need 3 zeros after my numbers that are not 0. So if this is where my decimal point was, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now similarly here, I've got 7.23 times 10 to the negative 3. So if I have 7, 2, 3, this is where my decimal point was. I need to move it 3 places. So 1, 2, 3. That's where it goes, 0.00. Just fill in the loops there with those zeros. Now the last example here is looking at calculating correct to 2 significant figures. Now you can type this straight into your calculator, or you can work it out longhand. So we can say if we've got 2 sets of brackets multiplied together, be 4.72 times 1.3. and that would give us 6.136. So that's already a number between 1 and 10. And then thinking back to our indices rules, if we multiply 2 base numbers that are the same that have a power, it means I add my powers. So that would give me 10 to the power of 11. So I would get 6.136 times 10 to the power of 11. However, the final step says I want it to 2 significant figures. So I just need to change this here, which would give us 6.1, the 3 doesn't affect our 1, times 10 to the power of 11. Okay, doing this into your calculator, let's bring the calculator up. Doing this into our calculator, what we end up with, we need to use a specific button on that calculator. So we're going bracket 4.72 And then this times 10 to the x button down the bottom. If we press that, and then the 6, it does that for us. Multiplied by 1.3, 1.3 times 10, and this time it's the power of 5, and equals. And we can see we get exactly what we had here, it's just now we've rounded that to 2 decimal places. Now for b, we're going to have to do that into our calculator. So we press our square root sign, bracket 7.92 times 10, and it's to the power of 20, close our bracket, and equals. So we get 2.814249,456 times 10 to the power of 10. But I want two significant figures, so I want my first two numbers. So it's 2.8 times 10 to the power of 10.